application just yet. You heard me right. Before you click submit on your next job application, I need you to know something that your career counselor probably never told you. Right now, in 2026, 87% of companies are using artificial intelligence somewhere in their hiring process. And amongst Fortune 500 companies, those are the biggest employers on the planet, that number is 99%. So you heard me right. That's between 87 to 99% of all companies are using AI. That means there is a very high chance that the first person or thing to look at your application is not a person at all. And here's the real question. Does that scare you or does that excite you? Because by the end of this hour, it's definitely going to excite you. I know some people are worried about the AI takeover, but trust me, it can be a tool that's used for good and used to help you. So let's learn how we take advantage of it and how we get AI on your side of the table. So if you're here, drop in the chat whether you're scared or excited about the AI takeover and how it is going to be useful for us. Which one are you right now? And thanks for being here. So welcome to the Vitality Social Network. I'm Melanie, and tonight we're kicking off a 5-part series called AI in Your Career. So here's what this series is going to cover. Episode 1 tonight is all about finding the right job with AI. Episode 2 is resume building and ATS, or the applicant tracking system automation. Episode 3 is cover letters that don't sound robotic. And episode 4 is for AI practice interviews. And then lastly, episode 5 is all about negotiating your offer with AI as your research partner. If you can hear that beeping in the background, I'm just being real. My husband's making a pizza. I'm hoping he'll come save it for me. But tonight is our foundation. So if you get tonight right, then every other episode in this series becomes more powerful. So stay with me. Let me paint you a picture of what the job market actually looks like right now, because I think some of these numbers are actually going to surprise you. The average job search in 2026 takes 6 months. You heard me right, 6 months. And the share of people job hunting for 6 months or longer has increased by more than 50% over the past 2 years. So I'm going to share my screen as we go along, because if you're one of those people that's job hunting and it's taking you 6 months to find a job, time is getting away from us. That's money that you could be making, right? And the job market is currently being flooded with competition. There are a lot of people that are also applying for jobs. And so these AI tools help the hiring manager to review these jobs in mass quantities. So the first person to see your job or your application for that job is probably not a person at all. And really, the approach of looking at jobs one by one really just doesn't work anymore. And we need to consider a new way of going about applying for jobs called the 3-filter problem. So every single job application that you submit in 2026 has to pass through 3 filters before a human being ever sees your name. That's 3 filters. Filter 1 is the ATS. That's the applicant tracking system. This is the software that most companies use to collect and to sort their applications. About 90% of employers use automated systems to filter or rank their applications. The ATS is not smart. It's not judging you. It's literally scanning for keywords. If your resume does not contain the right words from the job description, you get filtered out automatically before any human sees your name. Okay, sorry, we've got that beeping that's been going on for 10 minutes fixed. um, so filter 2 is the AI sourcing layer. Beyond the ATS, many companies now have AI tools actively scanning LinkedIn, GitHub, portfolios, Indeed, etc., any other public platforms that it can look for to find and source and view candidates. So these tools are evaluating your digital footprint, your profile, your activity, your projects, and they're ranking you before you even apply. They might even reach out automatically if they find that you're a good fit. So there are those kind of interesting tech ways that companies can actually find you before you find them. And then, of course, the third filter. So that is actually the human recruiter. But here's the thing. By the time they see you, you have already survived 2 rounds of machine evaluation. So the human is not starting fresh. They are looking at a short list that AI curated for them. So they went through keywords and pretty much looked at your resume already, and they served you up on a platter to that hiring manager. And the hiring manager is assuming that you're probably already a good fit for the job. And at that point, you still need to stand out a little bit further. So we're going to talk about in future conversations how you go about that. But we're going to tell you in this conversation how you actually get through that AI filter process to a real human being who is going to look at your application. So if you stuck with me this far, thank you for being here again. I just want to check in briefly and know who's here with me tonight. I would love to know if you are currently on a job search, if you're trying to get a job, what kind of job that you're trying to get, and then also how do you feel about using AI in your job search process? Are you, yes, you're all for AI, no, you've never done that, but you want to, or no, you've never done that and you are skeptical or not really for AI, the process, and you might be someone that I have to win over. Let me know where you fall, which bucket you fall in, and what you're currently looking for in a job, and then hopefully by the end of the stream we can talk about how I can help you specifically in some specific strategies that might work for you in the job that you're looking for. So either way, stick with me because what I'm about to show you in the next 10 minutes is something that you can use right away, tonight, immediately after we get off of this conversation. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the live demo and share my screen. I want you to watch what I do and you can follow along on your own device or computer if you have it. So you should be able to see my ChatGPT now. First thing is I'm going to switch it from auto to thinking. I prefer that I have a longer, better, more thorough answer, that they took more time to research before they respond to me. All right, and now we're going to go ahead and enter in our prompt. So the first prompt is called the role discovery prompt. Here's what you're going to type. Something like, let's see, I want to apply for positions in the wellness field because I went to school for nutrition and dietetics. So tell me with, let's see, provide me with the top 10 job titles I should search for. Oh, okay, so I'm typing quick, multitasking. You can see there's a couple typos. Doesn't matter. It's a great thing about AI, right? It'll fix it. So, including emerging roles in 2026. The next thing that we're going to look for are the skills and the qualifications most commonly required. Number 3 are the soft skills that employers value most. So, one thing is like, okay, tech skills, like I'm able to use Microsoft Word, I'm able to use Excel, I'm able to prescribe a meal plan. Soft skills are like some of those, I'm reliable, I'm personable, I'm friendly, I'm good at communicating, those kind of things. And then 4 are hidden job titles that have less competition. That's key. Less competition, but the same skill set. So again, back to the beginning, it took us about 6 months to find a job right now. So we might need to think outside of the box with, what exactly job titles do I need to search in Indeed? What are some additional jobs that maybe are outside of the box that I hadn't considered? And that'll let me have more options for what I'm looking for. And then this last one, of course, more options that maybe are a little less competitive. So let's see what we have. In just 30 seconds, we went from I want to work in the wellness field to now I have a specific list of hopefully 10 roles that I can consider applying for with varying levels of competition. This is what strategic job searching actually looks like in 2026. Now, we also have the ability to say, based on this list, suggest 5 alternative job titles or industries where my skills would be valuable but less competitive. So let's consider where AI is creating new demand, not eliminating. First, let's see what we have here. So top 10 job titles. It's also considering me as a person. So I use ChatGPT a lot, and so it learns about me. Oops, I'm not sure what I clicked here. Okay, so yeah, it learns a little bit about me, and it's able to remember my history, my skill set, my previous resumes. So it knows that I have a background in a nutrition degree, I have clinic operations leadership, client education, community building, and it's searching for things like wellness program manager, health promotion program manager, learning and development manager. And this is an example of one that could apply to anything, even if it's not in the health and wellness field. Community health program manager, so maybe this looks like working specifically for the government, creating, you can see here like nonprofits or community health centers, creating programs for the community to come join. It says here community health worker employment is actually projected to grow 11% over the next decade, much faster than the average occupation. So this could be a place to look and consider how we can help more people in the community. Patient engagement program manager, clinic operations manager, digital health implementation manager. So this is an emerging 2026 role. So it highlighted that specifically. Digital health companies need more people that can help. And so this is where you're also going to be able to find more remote work specifically on like the telehealth platforms. AI-enabled healthcare tools that need managers to oversee those processes. People think right now that AI is going to replace real people, and not necessarily, but a real person that uses AI is definitely going to replace somebody that does not use AI as we move forward. So here are just, like I said, a few examples of some creative jobs as well. Director of Healthy Living or Wellness Services, I love that. Thanks, Ruby. Thanks for being here. And then here we have the skills and qualifications that are most commonly required. So this is really detailed. It's going to help me understand exactly what I need to know how to do in order to be required for these jobs. And so, I'm just going to be honest here. It's a lot to read, right? So what would be really helpful is to know how well do I actually, does my skill set actually apply to these jobs. And so it can do a job fit analysis for us as well. So we're going to move into trying that prompt as well. This is probably one of the most underused tactics in job searching right now. And here's how it works. You can actually copy and paste a real job description, or you can use the example that's listed here. Earlier, I copied and pasted a role for a senior station leader at Amazon because there is a really large Amazon facility that's opening up within a 50-mile radius of me. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm really good at operations leadership. Maybe I can branch outside of the health and wellness field where a lot of my credentials really fall and apply those operation skills to another operations centered job. So I just copied and pasted that job. And now we also want to see here that, look, I would be thrilled if I got to get this job that made over $130,000 annually. That would be crazy. So I need ChatGPT to help me understand if I'm a good fit for this job. So at the end of it, I'm going to ask this. So analyze this job description and do 4 things. Okay, again, looks, I'm doing some typos right now. It's fine. It'll fix it. Not really a problem. Okay, so number 1, identify the top 10 keywords and phrases that I need to include in my resume. So back to the start, the ATS is going to skim your resume, and if it doesn't include these top 10 keywords, you're automatically going to be filtered out of the system. We can almost guarantee that a large company like Amazon is probably using some AI service to filter out their applicants. They receive tons and tons and tons of applicants. It's not going to be reasonable for a human to sit there and look at every single one. So this is what I need to make sure I include in my resume so that I make it through that filtering process. Number 2 is rate my overall qualifications match on a scale of 1 to 10. So that's like my job score. It's going to tell me if I'm actually likely to get this job based on my skill set. And it's likely how their ATS is probably already rating me, and it's a good chance that anybody that's like a 6 or below is not even going to make it to the next stage of being able to see a human. The next one is tell me what the job is really looking for. Like, read between the lines. The unstated priorities. Like, for example, I need somebody that takes initiative and is a self-starter and is able to lead themselves without needing to be micromanaged. That might be something that they don't say explicitly on the job application, but the hiring manager is definitely going to be looking for in this senior leader. And then lastly, identify any red flags. What kind of red flags am I going for? So that would be like concerns a smart candidate would look for. So, of course, we're talking about, the job is filtering through applications and they're deciding if we're a good fit for the job. We also have a right to decide if the job is a good fit for us. So, for example, does it seem like this job is going to overwork you, or with the level of responsibilities that it's asking for, it's not an appropriate level of pay or benefits? Those are the kind of things that you should consider. And then let's see how my score goes. Okay, so first we have the top 10 keywords and phrases. So again, these truly match my experience. So I need to make sure that I promote, I include, I make sure I tailor my resume specifically to what they are looking for in terms of the skill set. And the great thing about ChatGPT is they can also help us make that resume really easily. So this is just kind of gearing it up to the information that it knows it needs to include. And then the next step of the process, the next conversation we're going to be having tomorrow, is actually how to use this tool specifically for creating resumes. Right now, we're still just in the frame of mind of how we can find a job that is the right fit for my skill set. Now, overall qualification match. Okay, look, I have a lot of these skills. It's awesome. You would think that's like, we're really proud of that, right? But then we get down here and I'm only a 4.5 out of 10. Yikes. Okay, so maybe I'm not as strong as an operations leader that can be applied to every job as I thought that I was, right? So it's going to tell me where the major gaps are as well, what I need to work on in order to be eligible or qualified for this job. And really, this is telling me, is it worth really spending my time even building that resume and applying for this job, right? I don't want to spend the next hour or so trying to custom write a resume and a cover letter when the ATS is going to filter me right out of even being eligible for this job. And so, of course, I can consider then, like I said, is it even worth applying? But the next thing would be, how can I actually turn myself into the candidate that they're looking for? So here's some examples of what I don't have on my resume. I don't have 7 years of logistics or distribution management. This says direct oversight of ops managers, area managers, shift managers. I actually do have that. I do have that, but I must have not included that on my previous resumes. So ChatGPT's automated system wasn't able to filter that out and learn that about me because I didn't explicitly provide that information. So this is how working with ChatGPT as a partner is actually really beneficial, but it shows the gaps in the technology as well. It's why it still needs a human input as well. Then experience operating a 24/7 delivery service specifically, going through logistics staffing. So this is really the fact that it's saying, okay, you might be an amazing operations manager, but you've never really worked in a warehouse environment like this. So it does also supply some other competitive titles that I might be more likely to get my foot in the door with. So for example, if I apply to just a slightly lower level of a job role at Amazon, maybe I'm not going to get that 150K I was looking for, but maybe one of these roles that are just under it. And then I can start gaining some of that experience and grow into this senior manager job. Now, I love this example. What is the job really looking for? This is that between the lines advice here. They are looking for a leader of leaders. So not just a leader of employees, but I'm also able to train other managers that will then manage those employees. Someone that can set those expectations, inspect their performance, challenge weak explanations, coach struggling managers, and developing leaders. That's what I'm really passionate about. I'm also am intensely comfortable with numbers, so this is getting me really hyped up. I just need to make sure that I remember to include these specific pieces in my cover letter, in my resume, so I can demonstrate that I am actually the type of person that they're looking for. And even though I might not have experience in a warehouse type environment, I'm absolutely the type of employee that they're looking for, and I do have a lot of transferable skills. So this is how that next conversation is really going to help me to tailor my resume, and then episode 3 to really tailor my cover letter to the job that I want. And then, okay, lastly, some of the red flags. So this is making me think, do I even want this job? Again, do I really want to spend the time tailoring my resume and cover letter for this job? Because I have to be open to any location within a 50-mile radius. Does this mean that they can move me 50 miles away from my family? I'm not really sure that I want that. It also has a schedule that could be really disruptive. Am I ready to work overnight, weekends, holidays, 24/7? I'm not really sure that that would be a good fit for me. So, I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste their time. I need to make sure that I consider these red flags seriously when I'm moving forward in the application process. So let's check back in. If you're still here with me, thanks for following along. I would love to hear what your dream job title is. You can drop it in the chat right now. Let me know what job you're going after. I know that every single one of you has a target. That's why you're here, learning how you can use AI to get a job. And if I see a job title that's interesting or exciting, then I'll probably use it on one of my next few streams so we can have some real examples of what a strong resume or a strong cover letter looks like for that job. All right, so let's get into our next segment here, and then we'll come back and do some more examples with ChatGPT. The next segment is called Real or Hype. Every episode, I'll take a claim that's going viral about AI, and I will tell you whether it's actually true, whether it's being exaggerated, or if it's just downright misleading. So, tonight's claim: AI can find you the perfect job based on your personality and skill set. Just upload your resume and let it match you. Ooh, Ruby, you want to be an English teacher? Okay, I could see that for you. So we will keep that in mind. Thank you for sharing that. Do you think that if you ask AI for help, it can match you to the perfect job based on your personality and skills? Do you think English teacher would be a good match for you if you did the job fit analysis and got your score back? I would love to know. So here's the honest answer, whether this claim is real or hype. What do you think? Real or hype? It's both. Yes, it's actually both. So how you understand that difference determines whether you use the tools correctly or you get burned by them. No AI tool today can reliably predict whether a job is going to make you happy or make you fulfilled or make you successful long term. And here's a stat that should give you pause. Only 26% of job applicants actually trust AI to evaluate them fairly. Yeah, that's pretty low, 26%. And there's a serious academic research backing up that skepticism. A 2025 peer-reviewed study in Issues in Information Systems found that most high-performing AI hiring models operate as black boxes. They make decisions but can't explain them. You get rejected, and neither you or the recruiter knows exactly why. There's also documented evidence from Stanford researchers in October 2025, so pretty recent, both of those studies, that AI resume screening tools gave older male candidates higher ratings than female candidates and younger candidates, despite identical qualifications. That's not hypothetical. So when people say, the older white male is more likely to get the job, that is based on public research. So we really have to think strategically about our process when we are trying to get a job. So that's the hype side of the quote. Now, there is a real side, and this is what changes everything. AI is genuinely excellent at 3 specific job search tasks. Keyword optimization, so it knows exactly what words are going to get past that ATS system. Company research depth, it can synthesize information that would take you hours to gather manually. And job description decoding. It finds the unstated priorities that most candidates completely miss. So use AI for those 3 things and trust your own judgment for everything else. The culture fit, the career direction, the values alignment. That is the balanced approach when you are using AI to search for jobs. It can definitely provide you a lot of information quickly, but you have to use your own intuition to decide if it is the right fit for you. And then, of course, like we saw in the example earlier, the information that you feed AI definitely makes a difference in the quality of input that it gives back to you as well. So in the next section, I'm going to show you what using AI looks like for company research. So let's go back to ChatGPT. We're going to stick to the same thread that we've already been using, so it knows what I'm working on. All right, and you can follow along with me here. And I think I'm going to stick to using the example of researching Amazon. So again, before you go into an interview, before you apply to a job, you need to know a little bit about the company that you're actually applying to, because you want to make sure it's worth your time, it's a good fit for you, and then when you have a conversation with that hiring manager, you're prepared to ask quality questions and say the right thing about why you're applying for this job, why you feel aligned with their mission, whatever it is. So we're going to ask AI to please put together an in-depth report on Amazon. Include what products or services they offer, how the company actually makes money. And then number 2 is how they are positioned in the market and their main competitors. So this will also tell me, maybe Amazon is no longer hiring. They filled that role that they were looking for, but I was actually a good fit for that job. So how can I look for other companies that are really similar that I could apply to as well? We also want to know their company culture and values. So they might be a big company and they pay a lot, but it turns out that they don't treat their people well or whatever, right? We want to know some of that information, what we can find. So that's going to bring us into the next step. Any recent reviews, and news, layoffs, funding rounds, controversies, that kind of thing, right? Anything that we should know about. And then lastly, what a candidate with my background, which, as you've heard, is mostly in the wellness field, not really in this like operations logistics for a warehouse. So what would I need to emphasize if I actually wanted to get this job? And really not just get the job, but how would I stand out? If I made it past the ATS tracking system, what would a hiring manager be looking for to think they would still be willing to give me a shot? We could also do intelligent interview questions that I can use to impress the senior hiring manager. So this is all about Amazon. I'm sure a lot of people are curious to know about this. As you saw earlier, I also switched my chat to the thinking mode, so it's taking a little bit longer here. It's actually searching through Indeed and Reddit and all kinds of other websites to compile really recent and effective, well-rounded information here. You're more than welcome to switch it if you want like the instant or auto results. I don't mind waiting the 20 seconds in order to get more effective and detailed information here. So let's see what we can find here. And it did consider both the Amazon company and the fact that I was looking for the job that I copied and pasted in earlier as well. So Amazon's no longer best understood as an online retailer. It's a sprawling infrastructure company whose businesses reinforce one another. So what that means is that it has multiple ways of making revenue, right? It has the retail, it has the Prime Video services, it does advertising, they sell devices. So it's really diversified at this point to beyond just what it used to be where, you buy products and you get it in 2 days and that's it, right? They make money in a lot of different ways. That being said, there are a lot of different jobs that would be available as well. So when it comes to the position that I applied for, it's not really considering the entertainment aspect of Amazon. It is considering the delivery aspect of Amazon. And my strongest interview strategy is going to be to position myself as a people-centered operations and training leader who creates repeatable systems, develops managers, diagnoses performance gaps, and translates metrics into behavior change. That could literally be like my opening statement on my resume, where you would start with like your mission or your overview statement. That would be a great way to position myself. And then those can be my talking points, my sound bites when I actually have an interview with the hiring manager. And of course, like we learned, my biggest obstacle is the scale of the job and the industry specificity of the job. I haven't worked in a warehouse type environment, so I really have to demonstrate that my experience can be transferred from the health and wellness field and multi-location operations to what we're accomplishing here at Amazon. So then we have some more information about how it makes money, just broken down in depth there. Wow, this is really, really thorough. And then it also provides some different competitors based on the business area specifically. So as we learned, Amazon has multiple ways of making money. So that means there are a lot of different types of competitors depending on what aspect of the company I was most interested in getting involved in personally. So I can see here that if I'm more interested in the digital advertising piece, maybe I go to somewhere like Google or Meta or Microsoft. If I'm more interested in the streaming aspect and the video aspect, then maybe I'm looking more at Netflix and YouTube and Disney. So if I'm sticking to logistics and I'm thinking, no, I really want to start working at a warehouse. That's the next phase of my career, whether I don't do it at Amazon or somewhere else. I want to do that. So I could look at FedEx, I could look at USPS, UPS, those kind of places would be comparable to the type of job that I was looking for. So, this is basically your list when you're considering how can I use AI to help me find a job. Here's the starting place of your list. When you're in Indeed, you can copy and paste every single one of these competitors into Indeed. It gives me a lot of options. It also helps me understand, like I said, what aspect of those businesses I want to help support. And we can also use the job titles search that we started with at the top of this conversation. Give me 10 related job titles that I can search in Indeed as well. It also shares some information about the company culture, so I can decide if my values align with that, or if I feel like maybe they don't align with that, right? So it's determining if I feel like not only they're looking at me like am I a good fit for the job, but are they a good fit for me? Are they a good fit for my life? I want to be part of a culture that I believe in and can support, so that I can be happy every day. I don't want to go with a company that has poor work-life balance, because I'm a new mom and I need a predictable schedule and a job that's not overly physically, mentally demanding. That would be an environment where I would personally feel really stressed out in. I like to be, I liked when I can take independent initiative and decide my own schedule and still make sure I get things done. If I have to show up and work a 12-hour shift in a warehouse, I probably actually wouldn't be that happy. And then lastly, we also have some examples here of recent news for layoffs. And really, this can tell you, is the company growing or reducing? So they cut 16,000 roles as recently as January in 2026. And so this might give you an idea that this could be a time when it's a little bit harder to find a job here at Amazon. Maybe they're downsizing specifically, and they're trying to be a little bit tighter with who they hire and how their operation works. Or it could be something that you just keep in mind. I might get a job here at Amazon, and then they're going through their next round of layoffs. So you just want to keep that type of thing in mind, right? A lot of these companies are moving more towards using AI and automation. So the more you know how to use AI and automation as part of your skill set, bring that to the table, so it can be part of your workflow. You can be the AI processes manager. That will help you be a little bit more competitive compared to other people that are applying for the same job. And then lastly, again, you have that section where you can learn what you can emphasize about yourself in order to stand out. So this will provide you a really thorough understanding of how to succeed in your job search. Wow. Also, a lot of questions that I could possibly ask to be engaged. I remember a job interview I had one time where it was a situation where I didn't have to leave my job. I was just like being open to different opportunities. And I went and I grilled them. And I was like, how do your processes work? And, what is your schedule like? And what training support do you provide to your managers? How are you going to set me up for success? And I think I impressed them so much by having engaging questions and showing that I was taking the job seriously, that then they chased me down, honestly. There was several follow-up conversations. They ended up providing me a really competitive salary and convinced me to come work for them, because they were so impressed by my passion and my dedication to learning about their company and being engaged in the job interview process. All right. So we've made it through the majority of our conversation today. Keeping in mind, this is not about just gaming the system. It's about being genuinely informed and prepared so that we can make sure that we have options. We understand what our choices for applying to different roles are. We understand more about the company that we're applying to, and we understand more about ourselves and if we're a right fit for that job, if the job's a right fit for us. And if it's not, then how do we bridge the gap? What exactly are we looking for? Again, keep in mind that sometimes AI can use outdated or inaccurate information, especially when it comes to the recent company news and things like that. So if you are using that to prepare for your interview, just make sure you verify key facts directly before your interview, so you don't start like quoting their mission statement or their number of locations or something like that before you go into that conversation. I would love if anybody has questions in the chat. Feel free to let me know and we can spend some time on a Q&A. I also have received some frequently asked questions that I can address as well while we wait for chat questions to come in. And if you happen to be watching this on the replay, feel free to still stay engaged. Let me know what type of job you're looking for, what you're struggling with, if you like to use AI in your process, because we're going to continue the conversation over the next couple of days where we learn how to build a resume, a cover letter, how to position ourselves to fight for that better salary. There's a lot of places that we can go with using AI to effectively help our job search. So one major question I have is, how do I know if the company that I'm applying to actually even uses AI to screen applicants? Is it worth my time to consider this information? Well, you should just assume they do, because like we said off the top, anywhere from 87% to 99% of companies are currently using AI somewhere in their hiring process. So you're far more likely to be wrong by assuming that they don't use it than assuming that they do. So you should absolutely design your application for AI screening first and then make it human readable. We'll talk about in the resume building section. I think it's important to have a not just quick apply with Indeed and the built-in resume, but to actually have a personalized, professional, polished, maybe even colorful resume that stands out. Because as someone that's been an employer, I've spent time sifting through Indeed applicants and they all look the same. So once AI actually feeds me the better people, I'm going to notice who gave me a polished resume. I'm going to notice who spent time answering my applicant questions. And I'm going to notice the ones that look a little bit different, a little bit longer, they took more time. That kind of detail will stand out once you've spent time looking at 100 applications that all look the same. So first goal is to get past that ATS system and then think about what the human is going to see when you get there. So we'll help you with that on the next conversation. Another good question that we have here is just, what's a good AI tool to use? Maybe you're just getting started on using AI. ChatGPT is my go-to. It's a great starting place. A lot of people also use Claude or Perplexity. So those would be some of the top ones that I recommend. You can certainly use the free versions. Okay, someone asks, so is it okay to ask someone to make my CV, or should I do it myself? Okay, that's a good question. Um, I, I think it depends on what you mean by asking someone. Who is that? You are going to have the best information about yourself. You're going to know what you've accomplished, what awards you've been recognized for, what records you've broken, your soft skills. You know yourself best. But it's absolutely not cheating to also use a tool to help you make the process easier. So if you're asking someone for help and they happen to be using an AI tool like ChatGPT, then that just helps level the playing field. You have a process and technology into place that can make sure that your CV looks professional. It includes the keywords that the job you're applying to is looking for. It can help polish it up with formatting. It can prevent typos and grammatical errors. I love when somebody applies and they say, I'm detail oriented, and then I notice all kinds of errors in their resume. So it's absolutely okay to ask for help or to use one of these tools to help you set yourself, one step apart from the rest of the pack. But just make sure that AI or that person is your partner, not just completely replacing you in the process, not a ghostwriter for your actual character, because you're going to have to take your specific experience and the things that you're proud of and feed that information to that person or to AI. All right, do we have any other questions from the group before we go ahead and close out the conversation for today? I don't want to end without giving you just a couple of concrete steps that you can walk away with and try. So not just think about all of this or consider this, but actual prompts that you can try tonight. So reflecting on what we've already done so far, the first one is the role clarity prompt. So based on my background in your field and my skills, so again, you have to enter the 3 to 5 skills that you have. AI is not going to know that unless you tell them. Give me 10 job titles that I should be targeting, including emerging roles in 2025 or 2026 that are growing in demand, or maybe that have less competition right now. You could also ask for each job title to tell me the average job market competition. Is it high, medium, or low? So that's how you can use AI to help you actually find specific jobs. It can feed you those creative titles to copy and paste into Indeed or into Google as you're searching for jobs to apply to. And then once you find the job that you're interested in applying to, then you can do the job fit check. So that's the one where you copy and paste the description right into ChatGPT and you ask, score my fit for this job from 1 to 10. List the keywords that I must include in my resume, and then tell me anything that is a red flag from this job. So that'll help you see right away, are you likely to make it past the applicant tracking system? And is there anything about this job that stands out, like culturally, that you might not even want to spend your time applying for this job anyways? So definitely a good idea to see if that job is a right fit. And then you can also say, if not this job, what would you recommend instead? Or otherwise, how can I bridge the gap between this job and my current skill set? And then lastly, the company intelligence report. So if you're considering applying to Amazon, so to speak, or another large company for that certain role, then help you provide your business model, recent news, cultural green flags or red flags, and then 3 questions that you could ask in an interview or send to the employer that would help you stand out as a serious candidate. So those are your 3 prompts, your 3 action steps that you can take away and do tonight, all in a span of 45 minutes like we did together today. And when you run them, you'll be able to see right away what job you're suited for, what skills you need to add to your resume and learn. And like I said, if you actually want this job or if there's another job that you might be a little bit more excited about. So if you do that, I would love for you to share the response that you get and the job that you're looking for in our group Discord. You can find the Discord link in the description below or on the YouTube page. I am really proud of the little community that we're building here where we're all supporting each other and being more productive. We have our morning stream where we talk about starting the day, being productive and intentional, and then we're going to continue this nightly series where we talk about using AI to help us get a job, and then we'll keep the conversation going. So if you're interested in talking about these things, the Discord community is where the conversation continues. So you can absolutely share what you're working on there, ask any follow-up questions, connect with others who are going through the same thing, and then we can all rally behind you and help you out. And then be sure to join us tomorrow for episode 2. We are going to deep dive on how to build an effective resume. And we're going to again talk about how we can use AI or ChatGPT to really build up that resume to pass the ATS tracking system. It'll score our resume's effectiveness. It'll talk about how we make it look more polished and beautiful. Anything that you need to make sure that you get through the ATS and impress the human on the other side of it to help you get the job. So if tonight episodes helped you at all, then please share it. Like, comment, any engagement helps me, and I want to help as many people as possible. The job market is very competitive right now. I've been through it myself. I know it to be true. So let's make sure we use these skills that we're learning to help the people around us have the tools that they need to succeed too. Again, my name is Melon. This is the Vitality Social Network, and I will see you next time. Thank you.